I'm Chantal.
And I'm Nikki, and we're the faces behind Agile Caribbean Link.
So today we wanted to have a conversation about what does it mean to challenge the status quo. It is a part of the Agile mandate, but it doesn't matter if it is that you're working with an Agile company or working in an Agile way or not. Once you have been tasked with delivering value to your company, to your customers, then challenging the status quo can definitely help you out. Let's get straight into it. Nicola, what do you think it means to challenge the status quo?
So I was really excited about this morning, Shan, just because I remember starting off as a Scrum Master and thinking that, yes, I'm going to have an awesome team, and yes, I'm going to challenge the organization, and we're going to change up so many things. And I remember my first attempt to challenge the status quo failed miserably. And so I think for me, I had to take a step back to say, okay, what does challenging the status quo really mean? And it will mean different things for different people. One of the simplest things that perhaps can work, depending on whatever situation you're in, is asking a simple question like, why is this done the way it is? Like, I'm certain in our companies, we have certain, at this point, perhaps refer to them as traditions, processes that have been carried on for months, for years, for whatever reason, but nobody has ever really stopped to say why and understanding if really the approach that we're taking is making sense.
That's
What's
true.
your thoughts, Shan?
I completely agree. I think sometimes challenging the status quo, at the root of that whole notion is trying to get to
Mm-hmm.
the root of, as you mentioned, why do we do the things that we do in the way that we do them? Or why are we
Mm-hmm.
mandated to do certain things a certain way? And I find that there are so many opportunities once you start to ask that question, why? To finding out, different ways of optimizing your value delivery journey or optimizing just the process efficiencies within the company so that you can truly get to deliver value quicker and easier and simpler once you have, removed some of those old ways of working, which probably worked back in the day for whatever reason, but they're
Mm-hmm.
no longer, an enabler for anything really in your company.
Right, right. I think part of challenging the status quo too has to do with on you understanding what it is that you're challenging. Because even in challenging the status quo, bear in mind that it has to do with some kind of interactions with other persons. And so even understanding why persons take certain approaches that they do and how it is that they process things can also help. It will help you to understand, how do I approach this person? Because of course, you approaching anyone in a defensive manner is not going to work. So understanding where somebody is and meeting them halfway and then trying to help them understand also how it is that you are thinking through something will help.
Yeah, and helping them to understand that, if we do this one thing differently, this is what
Mm-hmm.
this is what it will mean to the end goal, to the end game, to the end
Right.
user. And I think too, once you're able to paint that realistic picture, it's harder for them to say, I think the way we've been doing things is the best way that we can continue doing things. So it's also
Mm-hmm.
being fearless in that approach of having that conversation. And as you said, approaching it in a way where you don't make the other person defensive. You don't want to make them feel stupid. You don't want them to feel silly, like, why didn't you think of this from before? You want it to feel like a collaborative.
Right.
So how do you have that conversation, Nikki, and ensure that it feels like a collaborative process?
So I think you've hit it on the head, Shan. The whole collaborative approach is one that you have to 100% take if it is that you're trying to challenge the status quo. Well, that's based on my experience. Challenging the status quo in a collaborative approach means something as simple as when you are reimagining, when you're envisioning a process or anything, involving other persons in from the go. I think in the traditional sense, we are used to sitting down and penning the things, thinking through what it is that we want to think about or what we want to see. And then we pass it on to someone else, expecting that, yes, this is brilliant. How can you
Mm-hmm.
not understand that this is brilliant? But then the acceptance of whatever it is that you're imagining is different when it is that I say from the get go, Shan, we are looking at this process. Can you join us to have a discussion so we can understand how it is that this process may impact you and what it is that you would also like to be included. And so, as opposed to me just sitting and doing something and passing it on to you, you are a part of it. And so, even getting the understanding and the buy-in happens way earlier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that pushback that you would get from just throwing something on somebody else is likely to be lessened.
That is true. And I think too, if we all take a collaborative mindset from the get-go to say, even though I may
Mm,
have been mandated to say, hey, it takes our customers 14 days to get from making an order to getting an item. And we bring everybody to the table because I've been mandated to cut that down from 14 days, let's say to 8 days, or cut it down
mm,
in half to 7 days, putting everybody
right.
around the table to say, hey, let us think about this. It takes the pressure off me alone, to say, hey, this is what I would recommend that we need to do to get it from, the 14 days to 7 days. And I think, taking that collaborative approach, even though it may have been my mandate, it is still in the best interest of everybody sitting at the table because we're
Mm-hmm.
all a part of this organization. We're all in this together. And optimizing one thing that delivers value more quickly to our customers probably would make them more likely to choose us the next time. They're looking to get whatever item or another item. You want to always
Right.
ensure that you're delighting customers in a way where they will always think of you first when they want to get
Mm,
that particular service or particular product. You can't lose, right?
mm-hmm. Definitely. I think one of the things for me as well is that I had to be conscious about is the fact that me challenging the status quo doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight either. Like this takes change, especially if you're working somewhere and it's not traditional things and it is something totally new. Do not expect to go in overnight to have meaningful impact. You'll have to be satisfied with taking baby steps.
Mhm. Definitely, Nikki. Baby steps is always a start, and they always say that the journey of a million miles starts with a first step or something to that effect. And it also applies to even, as you said, changing how your organization works, changing how your organization thinks, changing how they operate, to become a better, faster, nimbler type of an organization. Completely agree with you.
Mm,
And it also doesn't hurt to have an advocate. In one of
mm,
our recent videos where we spoke with Belinda Williams, she did make mention of the fact that sometimes it doesn't, or enacting the change doesn't need to be led by you. You don't need to always be
right.
the face to say, hey, this is my idea, and everybody listen to me and support me now. It doesn't need to be about you. Sometimes we just need to say, hey, this is my idea, this is my suggestion. Here, take it. Can you help me get this enacted? Because at the end of the day, it's not about who gets the win to say, you
Mm-hmm.
brought it to the table. It's just about
Right.
implementing the change so that, everybody who needs to be benefiting will benefit quicker.
So I think for me at this point, Shan, I'm really interested in hearing from other persons. What have you tried? How have you tried to influence or change the status quo? What are some of your tactics? What have worked for you? What has also failed, but you have learned from?
Yeah.
Tell us in the comments.
On that note, we can't end this video without giving you guys some words of encouragement because we know what it is like to sometimes be knocking on doors, challenging the
Mm-hmm.
status quo. You're having a million conversations, but the end result that you're trying to get is still not coming forth. And we want to encourage you to don't lose hope. Sometimes it takes time, as Nicola has said, and sometimes it takes, just probably changing your approach. So if it is that you've tried one thing, you've tried, A, B, and C, none of those have worked, feel free to reach out to someone else to say, hey, I need your help. I need a different perspective. I need a different game plan, and I need your insights to help me see, what else can I do to get to where I'm trying to get. So don't lose hope. Have conversations with some other people to get some advice as to what else you could possibly try and how we could possibly change your approach. Because at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, it's all about enacting that change that will help your company, your customers to all grow and flourish. So on that note, we just want to say thank you for watching this video.
We hope you found this content useful and we invite you to like, subscribe, and share. And also follow us on our other social media channels at Agile Caribbean Link on LinkedIn, Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Talk soon. Hold on, my internet will do something. So good one, Sean. I think it's
Okay.
that is a blooper for the ages.
Okay.
My God.
All right, baby. If I don't laugh after me, they tell me that. All right. Talk
Talk.
soon.
No.
Nikki. Okay, then.
Miss I leave me Andre. That's what me at.
So you want to talk soon? All right, ready? Music. Since a year ago.